Good evening, fans of Rando, and welcome to this Zelda Speedruns presentation of the Link to the Past Randomizer Challenge Cup Tournament. We have a semi-final matchup on tap for you today. This is Game 2 in a best-of-3 series between zer0rush and Phant, a series that Phant leads 1-0 after a victory in Game 1. I am MyNDM, and I am in the commentary booth today. Alongside me is ProA007. How are you doing this evening?
Very well. And, uh-oh, the uncle's already trolling. He says he knows where the bow is.
Well, he probably...
Last time I saw this, him say that, turned into a bow quest. So, we'll see if that is repeated here in Game 2 between, the 2-seed zer0rush and the 22-seed Phant. Who knows, maybe Uncle had it all along.
That's entirely possible. We will see. No, we have a fire rod start today.
Well, that's one of those items you like to have early.
A hunt for the fire rod, not always the most fun thing in the world, as I can attest to painful personal experience with a very great deal of recency. But, you know, our runners have that. It will do the job on all of the guards. Unfortunately, you do need to do a little farming elsewhere, maybe, to find your bombs.
Appears so. While the fire rod is very useful, unless they pull half magic somewhere in the next, I don't know, 2 minutes, they'll have to be fairly economical with their usage, unless they're getting magic drops from the guards and the bats.
It looked like we saw a rupee off of a guard that zer0rush killed with a push, and I think it was a blue one, so we have rupee pool on the guards.
Yeah, it was a blue rupee. So that's good information. We'll see what they can get off the rodents in back of escape, perhaps.
Probably try to hold on to one spare fire rod shot, see if you can't get a little spooky action on the rat keying up in the northeast corner.
You called it about 2 minutes later than you thought, but we got boots.
Yeah, that's one of those Mindium School of Warlockery. You too can try to call the boots in advance. I said house, but there they are early on in the escape sequence. Both of our runners allowed to go fast, pretty much off the hop here.
Yeah, and runners are even on the magic. zer0rush actually missed a shot before the key room, and Phant actually used the fire rod on the green guard and the ball and chain guards. So he's got a few shots left, so you have to make it count. They don't have any other offensive weapons at the moment.
Have one for the key rat. It looks like they've got 3 shots grand total left, and if not, well, there are also 3 small magic decanters under pots in the second half of the escape sequence here. Most of them are a little out of the way, but, you know, just in case, a runner could be convinced to pick those up for an extra shot or 2 of safety.
Yeah, you know, it depends how bold you're feeling, I guess, and we'll see how the next couple of rooms. Okay, well, Phant just burned one of them. Kind of clearing the decks a little bit here.
zer0rush got a little bit better RNG in that guard room, was able to just dash down the wall. There was a little stabby green guard in Phant's way, and he had to go ahead and expend one of those fire rod shots to clear it out.
So, you know, zer0rush as a result about 2.5, 3 seconds ahead early here. Let's see what kind of RNG they get with these snakes here. Very good RNG for zer0rush. Only took 1 hit.
Yeah, mostly out of the way. Phant with a very different looking pattern, but still that same 1 hit and on through. A small shield there in Dark Cross.
Yeah, we got the blue shield, the Fisher-Price shield, on Dark Cross rooms. So again, nothing, no bombs yet. So Back of Escape could be out of pocket here.
We'll see what our runners want to do. zer0rush has a couple of opportunities. Phant gets a little spooky action, gets a key, and sees that rats are in the magic pool. And of course, we're just bonking into the Back of Escape with those boots for art and map, but we're still on the lookout for bombs for Kakariko. There are a lot of bomb-only walls coming up in the near future.
Yeah. I forgot about that part with the boots. Like, oh yeah, we never see boots this early, but yeah, it's yeah, 2 pieces of heart and a burrito. Back of Escape. zer0rush is the first out about 5:32. Phant's gonna be about 6 or 7 seconds behind. Oh boy.
What is this seed?
Getting all the transport stuff early. So our runners are going to have some interesting choices to make here.
Kind of starting to treat this like casual boots. Go ahead and bonk into the bonk rocks while you're here. Nice little 3 hundo. You can buy your own bombs if it really comes to that.
Yeah. See what they get off of the tree pole here. And, oh, well, that crow had took exception to zer0rush going after it. Phant,
Looks like
good. Just bomb. Okay, they're the bombs. They could use those.
Unlikely to be acquiring that particular pack of 3, I would think.
zer0rush is saying no thanks to Blue Mail. Interesting.
That is an interesting life choice there on zer0rush's side. Now, of course, both of these runners have made it to the semifinals for this tournament, are not exactly in a position to say, I need more help clearing this game, but, when you're offered safety for just the cost of a couple of seconds to pick it up and you say no, that is a level of confidence right there.
Hey, zer0rush gets a bomb off those rock clusters, so we'll be able to do back blinds. I hope that he pulls something more explosives out of here. One of these 5 chests.
Yep, and Phant went ahead and showed us that Tier 1 pole, which was the small magic decanters.
Yeah. And got the sword, bombs, and a mirror. So, wow.
The early game turning out to be fairly stacked thus far. Of course, we're still missing a couple of pieces of the Dark World access puzzle, but knowing that the hammer is going to be part of that generally feels pretty good as a runner.
Phant not taking any chances, going to get the bombs. Well, zer0rush is being validated by trusting the process, as it were. And wow, a blue sword.
That was a very blue and explosive well, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. So, more bombs. Kakariko is full of demolition experts, apparently. There's the Moon Pearl. So Dark World is in play.
You'll look for a glove yet, or, a lamp to go to Aga, but yeah, the number of options is certainly growing for our runners at the moment.
Yeah, forgot. Forgot about the glove, but well, there's a blue cane there. Phant is saying no thank you.
It takes a little while to get to that, especially without a sword. You think, you know what, if it really comes to that, I can probably just go snag it later. Especially, although Phant does.
Yeah. Yeah, so if Phant doesn't, yeah, there's missing a few items here, so
A nice long map check there on zer0rush's side. We have a crystal at Eastern, a crystal at Hera, and a regular pendant at Desert Palace.
well, Hera is 100% clearable right now. They so choose.
That flute is a perfectly valid access way up the mountain. Of course, the sword and the hammer both in hand will let you kill the worm, and the fire rod, even if your key is locked away in the basement, you can go get it.
And zer0rush said no to blue mail, but is saying yes to the blue cane.
Perhaps having thoughts of an early spike cave play here with that ability to go up the mountain, the moon pearl, the hammer. If a glove shows up, it is certainly an option for him.
Yeah, yeah. And Chad had pointed out as well. Spike cave in play here, and we welcome our friends from DSR3, the raid, a party of 78. Welcome to Game 2 of the A Link to the Past Challenge Cup semifinal. Hook shot in Ice Rod Cave.
You're getting in pretty much on the ground floor of this one. The boots were early, our starting weapon was the fire rod, and both of our runners making most of the same checks, although Phant appears to have missed the mirror in Kakariko Village.
And a pair of swords on top of that. Yeah, we are looking right now. zer0rush probably is next move once he gets the hook shot. He's gonna run the gamut on Death Mountain.
The flute going to make that a reasonably free and easy play, going to find this hookshot in Ice Rod Cave, and Phant has fluted back to the villages, going to clean up those northern checks, those more item-dense checks now.
And bombs everywhere. Phant paid 50 rupees for the privilege of insurance, but pay off.
And zer0rush is storing a water walk here. The mountain not going to be the imminent play, instead going to go ahead and do some illogical water checks first.
But yeah, I mean, with the moon pearl, that makes sense. Get those out of the way, and at least, and if you get lucky with a lot of money, all the better. Well, that's pretty lucky nonetheless. A red sword from the waterfall.
Swords, swords, swords. We keep hearing these Agon noises, Seed, but it's between that glove and the lamp, even as the checks wind down.
Yeah. Given the current state of play right now, I'd say Aga's still a long way off. There's way too many checks on the board. Wake on Lake Hylia Island.
Entirely possible we're going to need that later.
Phant is doing the save the old man.
Another one of those checks, much like all of those water checks that zer0rush just performed, that is out of logic, but, as long as you bear in mind the implications of whatever you might find by making your sequence break, it's perfectly valid to do so.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of those. In this case, it doesn't cost anything really. Wow, cold sword in less than 16 minutes for zer0rush.
Terrible seed confirmed. Now we just have to see what pain the runners are actually going to have to suffer through.
Oh come on, we all know it's the bow. The uncle even told us so. Yeah, there's the Zora money.
Yep, plenty of cash with which to pay off the old scam master if our runners decide that that is in their future.
I mean, you know, in zer0rush's case, it's probably not until he decides to do catfish play, but still.
Easy enough with the mirror already in inventory to go ahead and put that off for a little while.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, big key down in the basement. So no, at the moment having to go do the big great game that we all know and love. So we got a green pendant at Ice, red pendant at Turtle Rock, red crystals at Skull and Swamp.
Well, Skull is accessible to both of our runners as soon as they actually hit the end of that Dark World access chain. A swamp, we're still going to need to find some flippers.
Looks like Phant soft lock by accident.
Did not quite get situated properly in the pot before trying to walk up, and yeah, you can soft lock yourself that way. It's reasonably common.
You know, all things being equal, not the worst thing to have happened. Okay, zer0rush got it correctly. So be able to bypass a large chunk of the dungeon outright, and with that hook shot, okay, there's one of the two. There's the key now. So that's confirmed. Item number 2 is in the basement.
Now, Pro A, tell me, how do you feel about leaving behind that basement check versus checking it? Because this is a situation where I 100% check that.
I'd agree with that. It's early enough in the proceedings. You're going to be up here a while anyways, so just you're better off just doing it, I'd say. Okay, well, and 10 arrows being the first item. So yeah, I would just do it. Yeah, it's kind of a pain, but given how front loaded this scene has been, you don't want to leave anything behind if you can help it. Not this early.
Especially not when you're still looking for one of your pieces of your Dark World access puzzle. Leaving something like your glove behind here would not feel so great.
Yeah. We're Mitz flips bow and red cane from go mode. Really? Yeah.
Yeah, plus or minus whichever medallions we might wind up needing.
Right. Yeah. Quake. We know where Quake is. So, 2 quick fights there with Troll Dorm and, well, Sankheart. Okay, sure, get a refill.
Yeah, welcome to the team, Sankheart, but you weren't exactly what we were looking for.
No, no. Okay, we got a red shield on the floating isle.
Another one of those site check items that in this case both of the runners are probably going to be leaving behind.
Yeah. And Phant actually passed up on the second item, so drawing a bit closer there um, with zer0rush. There's about a 90-second difference on their crystal grabs.
And zer0rush has found the glove tucked away there in Spiral Cave. Phant picking it up
And,
now as well. That is Dark World access acquired for both of our runners at 20 minutes.
yeah, and given that Skull and Thieves are both clearable. Well, there's the second shield, so okay, what's the catch here? Lumberjack was 3 bombs.
Doesn't seem like we're seeing a whole lot else in Paradox. Couple of checks left, which are money and a piece of heart. That has a refill attached to it for zer0rush, but the best thing we found up here was that glove giving us Dark World access. Kinda seems like that's where the game is going to funnel our runners at the moment.
Yeah, so we're gonna have, I think, a Skull Thieves combo next. Or, well, no, zer0rush is gonna go to Hype Cave and hope that there is actually some hype there.
It's entirely possible it's one of those 5-item dense locations that are perfectly available to you. All you have to do is have a couple of bombs to get at them, and of course zer0rush does. While Phant has floated over to the desert area, sees another 3 hundo there on the ledge, and is heading for Agina's cave.
Okay, so first item was 3 bombs. Money. Money. Can we give a minus out of 10 for this? Because that was pretty awful.
I think that our runners should consider just leaving some bombs behind there as a present.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, good lord.
And
That
Phant's play over to Agina did not really pay more dividends. There was just another piece of heart laying there.
yeah, it's like there is hype, there is no hype, and then there was that. I mean, 42 rupees and 3 bombs. Thing, man.
Phant, it appears,
So
wants to be a little more thorough in cleaning out the Sphere 1 checks here, is over checking out Sahasrarla's closet.
yeah, and well, he's fully dressed for the occasion now.
Still missing that butter sword, although likely to find it eventually, is unlikely to hit full visible firepower with that last shield laying on the floating island.
Yeah.
But you can't say that the game has been stingy about offering our runners safety. It's just a difference in which ones they've decided to pick up.
22 digs gets you a heart container. Phant is going into Eastern, cannot finish, but can certainly take a look at the front of the dungeon. zer0rush, meanwhile, is pivoting towards Dark World.
zer0rush's play makes a lot of sense here. You know, you've been given this Dark World access rather than going to a crystal dungeon that you're likely to get locked out of unless there is a vanilla or French vanilla bow location today. Going over to a couple of other crystal dungeons in the Dark World that you have the access to full clear makes a lot of sense.
Agreed, yeah, and zer0rush has enough hearts to make this so that Mothula and Blind and whatever's in his way is gonna be too much of an obstacle.
Butter Sword is going to really do all of the work that zer0rush needs it to do here. Now, the Rando devs have kindly tuned it so that it does do damage to the moth. Normally it does class 4 damage, the same as spikes. And in the vanilla game, if you could somehow get to the moth with the Butter Sword, you would be in a bit of a tight spot. You would have to do pokes.
Yeah, that when I heard that 3-4 years ago, I was like, wow, that's interesting. I don't know if it was an oversight on the developer's part or what, but it was definitely something I hadn't expected.
And zer0rush going to go ahead and go straight to the back. Of course, the crystal that is the real goal of the game, needing all 7 of them to defeat Ganon. And if the moth happens to have one of those items you're looking for in the dungeon while you're here, well, that's a nice little bonus.
Yeah, and the mirror makes this pretty elementary as far as all that's concerned. So should be fine. zer0rush had a little trouble there at the end. Oh, a validation arrow. The game giving Phant the finger there on the way out.
That is not the item you're hoping to find when you dip into a crystal dungeon that you cannot clear out, an arrow rather than the bow. Meanwhile, that one spike moth on zer0rush's side was absolutely pristine. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was very good. 2604 for zer0rush, up 2-1 on the crystals. Going back in for now to try and get the last of the items here and get on out of here and go straight probably to Thieves Town.
Yep, meanwhile, Phant has also performed that Dark World map check, now has all the same information, going to receive all of the disappointment of Tripe Cave tonight.
I think even calling it tripe is too complimentary. Man.
Tripe is at least edible, right?
Yeah, well, it's edible to some, I suppose. That's a line from The Simpsons. Like, they can't seriously expect us to swallow that tripe. Well, now, from the Meat Council, help yourself to some tripe.
That Gibdo was not really cooperating. The Stalco was also not cooperating.
Yeah, well, that's something new.
Seems like par for the course in Skullwoods.
Yep. Well, there's the big key.
Still making checks, still trying to turn up items, going to set the spin slash for that bomb, getting right up to the lip of the pit.
And Zero is done with Skullwoods.
And Phant is in the midst of those 22 digs for that full heart container on the dig game.
Zero is actually going to check Bumper Cave just to get that out of the way. Is there anything required? Well, that's a bottle. That's nice. Unless Sick Kid is holding something required. Not at the moment. Yeah, Zora was not checked. Neither player at the time has had the sufficient funds to get scammed.
And now Phant is going to loop in this race game pull of the blue cane. Let's see what his next play is.
I was probably going to check King's Tomb next, just to get that out of the way. Doubling up on Catfish and Zora.
It could be. At the moment, zer0rush would need to perform a little bomb jump there. Don't think there's actually splash deletion equipment in inventory at the moment. Maybe there is. Maybe you can red boom and bomb for that. But no, seems to be maybe turning around and heading the other way.
Yeah, he's going back. He's gonna take care of outcasts, and that looks like where Phant is going as well to start with. Yeah, Phant has 6 hearts. zer0rush has 8.
Phant does have that decided male advantage, however.
Well, there's our bottle. So there goes Bumper Cave as an advantage.
Probably wishes that the contents of those 2 bottles had been swapped around.
Probably.
And Phant pulling the mitts out of the first chest in Thieves Town.
Alright, so we're starting to close in on the end game here. It's looking like probably could be a bow and Flipper's end game at this point. Kane is also
Samaria, and at least 1 medallion.
Yeah. So yeah, this it's been a very front-loaded seed, but now we're getting down into the weeds here, and that is going to have an effect on what our runners do next. zer0rush is in pretty good shape right now. Got 2 crystals on his way to number 3. He's done a pretty good job routing everything in and out. But yeah, it's like the next choice after this is going to be telling, and it will depend on what they end up drawing here.
Barring anything particularly interesting in the back of Skull Woods, maybe a play to the relative density of Dark Mountain?
That's one option. Maybe make a trip to Meyer first to see Medallion and knock out that stuff.
That's also entirely reasonable. Find out the 1 medallion that you know for sure that you need. You also have the 2 checks in the Meyer Shack. You can go ahead and check out Checkerboard Cave. If you're so inclined, you could even dip into Pendant Desert on that play.
For the front of Desert, that's not a bad idea either. Because you figure the pendant dungeons are going to hold something. There's usually at least one crucial item that pops up. So why not?
Given the way the seed was kind of front-loaded in Overworld, I mean, we found the mitts now in Thieves Town, but how much do you want to bank that more of that progression is just kind of sitting on the Overworld waiting to be picked up versus in the dungeons that you still have to do? It's a question our runners are going to need to answer for themselves.
Yeah, it's not an exact science, of course, and it will come down to your preferences. If you're really gunning for trying to knock out the crystal dungeons, then that'll lead you one way, whereas other runners will try and kind of play the field, so to speak, and get what they can. So yeah, it's on the table. So Phant is the first to blind. It's a scripted fight, provided players follow the script. 9 hits no matter what sword you have, so that's nice. And Phant having a little trouble with blind, but the red mail makes it pretty easy. There's the lamp.
Alright, that
Well, yeah. And that's a crystal as well. In the meantime, our runners are going to probably be taking advantage of the smithy chain and getting that out of the way.
And now that the mitts have arrived, at the very least a check on the hammer pegs. You can turn the smith in relatively easily. If you want to then just mirror and flute away with the purple chest, you can do that reasonably freely.
Yeah, and zer0rush, because of how he routed this, doesn't have to do some of the other tricks to make this work. He's already checked Stumpy, he's already checked K45, so he's all set there. So this will be pretty easy for him.
Yeah, Phant has those checks under the belt as well. Got that
Oh,
heart
yeah.
container off of the dig game, so had completed that southern loop. The hopefully unneeded ice rod hiding in the hammer pegs today.
Yeah. So, well, you never know.
For the cost of a couple of seconds, if you wind up having to kill Trinex for, let's say, a bow or the Meyer medallion, you can save yourself several minutes of clearing out Turtle Rock and having to clear it again and come back.
Well, there's one medallion, the Bombos medallion. That on top of possibly being a thing, if they have to make a dip into ice, ice just got a lot easier.
Yep, it's an option for taking out Freezors if you don't want to do fire rod shots. Now, Phant still has Skull Woods on the menu here, so is choosing to leave the purple chest behind for a moment.
And Zero's gonna check Sick Kid for them real quick, just get that done. And well, he's a kid. It's only $5. Phant had the same idea.
Yep, just the day's lunch money.
Oh, the Cane of Samaria. Wow.
That's a bit of an ugly location for that, especially with Phant still heading north with Skull Woods on the table here, one of those crystals that he absolutely needs to beat the game.
zer0rush is heading towards Sarsaparilla. Get the blue mail, if nothing else.
Seems likely to just be a quick 3 check here. The flute's still out. Likely to go ahead and flute away.
Yeah. Yeah, Meyer seems like the play right now.
You get to find out if that Bombos medallion is exactly what you needed, exactly when you needed it. Meyer clearable if Bombos is in fact the required medallion, and it is.
Oof. So early Bombos, so early Meyer, thanks to Bombos, well, that's a nice little bit of insurance for zer0rush.
So all of a sudden we are down to just a couple of questions. Where are we going to find a bow, and where are we going to find the flippers?
Yep. So far as we know, this is we're down to a bow and flippers end game at this point, unless logic forces our runners to kind of twist themselves into pretzels here, so to speak.
It is certainly possible something like flippers in an out-of-the-way location to get Quake off of the island, to go get your bow out of Turtle Rock somewhere. Could be a thing, but by and large you start feeling a little better when you're down to just a couple of things left to your go mode.
Yeah. And Phant having a little trouble with the statue while dealing with the Gibdos.
Was trying to employ the Redarang a little bit and was not having the greatest success actually getting it to connect with either of the mummies. just the 10 bomb pack tucked away there in the big chest of Desert Palace. Looks like zer0rush has had his fill of Desert Palace and is going to transition back over to the Dark World.
Yeah, he's gonna do Checkerboard Cave and then probably make the run into Mire. No, okay, check Agina, then the run to Mire. So, Phant got clipped by Vortex.
Yep, got a little bunny beamed there, but no real harm done, just a couple of extra seconds waiting to drop in on the moth. Good time to take a breath and think about exactly how you want this fight to go.
Oh, with Red Mail, he doesn't have to worry too much.
The downside on Red Mail is less the moth and more the spikes. The spikes are still traps and will happily do a full heart of damage, but he only took that one early hit from the moth.
Yeah, so 4103 for Phant, knotting it up at 3, but there's 6.5 minute difference between when Zero got his third crystal and when Phant got his. So yeah, there is quite a difference. And zer0rush very much in control right now in terms of how he's routed, how he's played. Phant's gonna really have to end up going to like pod and hoping the bow ends up there somehow.
Going to need one of these remaining pieces of progression to be on the path that he chooses, and that not be the path that Zero decides to go for.
Yeah.
Particularly since Phant does have that red cane out of the purple chest, and Phant is currently not anywhere near it.
Not at the moment, no. So I imagine that will change. No, he's heading east towards Graveyard and King's Tomb.
Looks like we've seen Small Key and a Compass over there on zer0rush's side for the first couple of checks in Mire. We have seen these checks that Phant is making, neither of them were particularly game-changing. And we'll see what he wants to do after this King's Tomb play, this little piece of heart here. Has the flute out. Is this a play over to the Mire area, maybe to the mountain, maybe to pod? The options are all available and on the table here.
Yeah, and he's heading, he's making the desert play.
Also sees that Bombos requirement. That is the half of the Smith chain that Phant has done, so the entry requirement is met.
Nice skip there by zer0rush, getting around, having to take the long way. Got the big key out of it, and well, more keys. So we've only seen, I believe,
Or to just dip into pod bolus.
possibly. There's certainly no shame in, in Zero's case, just finishing off Mire, getting crystal number 4. But that does leave the 3 remaining crystals out of pocket at the moment, with Eastern Pod and Swamp not being completable, and can't even set foot in Swamp.
Yep, Swamp not going to cooperate with our runners at all. Of course, Phant has done everything in Eastern except for the boss. Did that bright and early, got that single arrow of destiny in the Vanilla Big Key location, and yeah, I already know from his side that nothing interesting is going to turn up there.
Oh, with Gold Sword, no problem there for zer0rush. Oh, we got bodied. Got to be careful. Doesn't have a fairy in a bottle, but the Gold Sword makes that pretty straightforward. And there's a burrito.
So we'll see if zer0rush goes back in here. Phant has seen the 10 sticks there in Checkerboard Cave and is not even going to try the mire area. Is instead going to go ahead and head for the mountain.
Yeah, zer0rush, no interest in revisiting Mire. So yeah, I'd say Zero's going to follow in Phant's footsteps and make the run towards Dark Death Mountain. You got oof.
Got exceedingly dead rocked there.
Yeah, right in the sweet spot.
Now Phant's getting ready to show us a couple of checks here in Super Bunny Cave.
So yeah, we're 2 items from go mode. The flippers and the bow. Well, got a fetch quest item in Super Bunny Cave.
Even if it turns into nothing, it is a nice safety to have, and it is exactly the kind of thing that might lead Phant back over there to pick up the purple chest that he's absolutely going to have to do this seed.
Yeah, like he's really got to get better. He's really got to get better. Double bombos for medallions. So Quake on Lake Highly Island not required.
That is an interesting early dead check now. Of course, Phant, without the Cane of Samaria, is not going to be able to go in here. We'll see, number one, if Zero decides that that is a play, and two, if it actually happens to pay out. Because if Zero does go in and nothing's there, that's time that Phant can use to actually find the Cane of Samaria and play a little catch-up here.
It's possible. Looks like that's exactly what he's going to do. Meanwhile, Phant is heading into Spike Cave.
And this is the kind of thing that you pick that blue cane up for, getting through Spike Cave, but it's just a piece of heart at the end.
A vanilla piece of heart, so that's it's unfortunate for Phant. We'll see. zer0rush can do the whole thing if he wants.
Yep, the only thing that's going to stop zer0rush here is the decision that he's had enough of this dungeon. Or, of course, finding both of their remaining progression items. More than enough money to pay off the little extortionist here. And zer0rush has gone big key, small key, compass as the first 3 checks in Turtle Rock.
I don't think that's what he was hoping for, but so small key up front, so Phant can continue on with the checking for the moment by logic.
It will be interesting to see. In Game 1, we did see some mimic clipping from Phant, so we know that that is a tool that is in his toolbox.
And Zero at gonna skip the anti-fairies for the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if he just picks up a quick 7 heart refill on his way up ahead here.
Unfortunately, one of those situations where you're not actually trying to go mode the dungeon, so there's no stealing of this pokey key, you're just going to keep checking everything until you found what you're looking for. And here comes that mimic clip on Phant's side. Practically blink and you miss it. That is absolutely more free than I could ever dream of pulling off myself.
Yeah. Okay. JD Silvergun is right. He is really good at that. It's like everything's in the back.
Yep, Phant did pull the big key from the front. I did not catch what the other potential item was. Of course, it could have just been a 5 small key front. I was not paying close enough attention. I was more gawking at the mimic clip.
I think it was. Alright, so we're in Mimic K right now for 0. Straightforward with the gold sword. Just $20. Ooh, Phant missing the bomb jump there. He's gonna have to reset the room, do it again.
And Stinger PA in chat mentioning that Phant got the magic cape in the arena chest, so we did see 2 items in the front.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, just noticed that, like, oh wait, that's new.
Going to go ahead and rummage around here in the dark maze, finds another heart container. And another trio of bombs, while zer0rush is slowly working the way towards Laser Bridge. That last little bit of density.
So he screwed that up a little bit. I think he's gonna reset the. Okay, should be fine now.
Yep, did not quite actually get the floor switch stepped on the first time and had to go back for a second bite at the apple.
Well,
This is Phant's last possible bailout in the Harmless Hellway, and it is just another full heart container.
so Zero's got his key. He's got a burrito. Last 2 should be items. Heart piece. The flippers! Wow!
The flippers on the tag end of Laser Bridge. There you have it.
Wow.
That's going to open up the Swamp Palace play at last. Also gives logical access to ice, although our runners could have gone in there for quite a while now with a little fake flipper or water walking shenanigans.
Yeah, that gives 0 a really good spot right now here in game 2 of the semifinal match. Was that 5 for TR? No, yeah, you left 1 on the table. He's gambling that it's not going to be anything, so which is fair enough. Phant
One
is
item
going
on
to
a pendant
check.
boss
Yeah.
versus the entirety of Swamp Palace, the 6 potential items there. This magic bat check on Phant's side. Is this a bow?
No, it's a health refill. So there is that.
And we do believe that there is still 1 item left in Mire as well.
I believe so, yes.
But Zero seems to want to take the chance that the bow for go mode is just tucked away in this crystal dungeon that just unlocked for him.
Not an unreasonable assumption, certainly. You know, you can if you can finish it, you finish it. The only thing that might be a minor caveat is you know, full clearing the dungeon. That does take time.
And not a small amount of it. I would not be at all surprised to see a play directly to the boss here, hoping that the bow is on the way, and only then having to decide, do I still want to go back in for the however many items may be on left side swamp?
Yeah, and it's not something you know you do lightly. Certainly, you hope it doesn't burn you. The odds of it burning you are, you know, in terms of percentages, fairly low, but you don't want it to be that one time. Certainly, zer0rush's case, that is true, because he is down 1 zip in this best of 3 match. Got a nice health refill there from the piece of heart.
And Phant had flown all the way over to the mire area, realized the magic meter was not necessarily going to support a Bombos activation, and had to do a quick double back over to the potion shop to fill back up.
So big chest had nothing. It was just the compass. Okay, well, a shovel and half magic.
Half magic is a perfectly acceptable safety, but it is not going to get you into either the Armos Knights or Helmasaur King.
Sadly not. The shovel is probably going to be leaving Zero with a little bit of pause here, and it's a fetch quest item, but he's in the neighborhood, so...
And this is about as close to the neighborhood as he's going to get in the near future. Now, of course, the Flute to 4 spot means you can always kind of go back for it when you want. Zero a couple of puffs short there of a otherwise very clean Zero cycle. Manages to clean it up in one, and then the one cycle phase 2 as well. Finds the book on Argus.
Well, that opens up another couple of checks, one of which is in the neighborhood.
The game does seem to have the neighborhood on the mind. The general environs of Swamp Palace still have some other things that may yet hold some value.
Now, and the other thing that's now in play is Pyramid.
Ah, you are correct. That was the second of our 5-6 Wombo combo today. Unlocking 2 more possible locations where that bow might be hidden.
Bombos begets bombs. What a surprise.
That's close game, but not exactly the vanilla behavior.
Phant realizing he doesn't have enough magic to do this, so he's gonna have to reset the room, get a refill. zer0rush heading towards the shovel spot. Washout.
Yep, seems to be in mind to kind of thoroughly clear up those checks, but in both cases, not actually paying out.
Yeah, looks like he's doing Magic Bat now. Phant, we're gonna find item number 2 just now, and it is $5.
A bow there would have been exactly the kind of thing Phant needed for this to even back out. The 5 rupees there is supremely unfortunate. So Zero's play is backed for Back to the Dark World. I think you may have called it when you started talking about those 2 checks available via the Big Bomb at Pyramid Ferry. I'm also not entirely sure that our runners have seen the pyramid proper just yet. Seeing some agreement in chat there, which always feels good. Every once in a while I do get that rando brain and start seed bleeding one to another. So we do have 3 checks here that may well pay out in the item that zer0rush is actually looking for. Particularly since Phant has done both of the bow dungeons aside from the bow locked locations, and we have not seen anything come out of either of them. And welcome to Zelda Speedruns 4, raiding with a party of 7. You are joining in progress a Link to the Past Randomizer Challenge Cup race. This is a semi-final matchup, game 2 in a best of 3 that Phant leads 1-0, but zer0rush has a commanding 5 crystals to 3 lead that Phant is about to bring down to 5-4. While zer0rush has finally discovered the Go Mode bow there on the pyramid ledge, just sitting there waiting for you to swing on by and pick it up.
So he hits Go Mode at 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 4 seconds. So yeah, this will be over in a matter of minutes, practically, probably the next 15 minutes.
The big key in Eastern was relatively early. The big key for Pod was definitely in the front, although I do not remember exactly where. So Zero is going to be in 7 crystals and go climb the mountain mode here, probably in the next 5 minutes.
I would think so. Yeah, it is entirely his race to lose. He has made every correct call tonight, and he will be forcing, in all likelihood, a game 3 with Phant at a time to be determined. But still game to be played. But this is definitely Phant is in. zer0rush is in absolute control here.
Yeah, even in the situation where Phant takes this as a play to the pyramid and picks up the bow and picks up those 2 crystals in the Eastern Dungeons, Light and Dark World, is still going to be in a position where the flippers are tucked away at the very tag end of Laser Bridge in Turtle Rock, and are just not really within shouting distance of him at the moment.
zer0rush trying to hover across platform here, save himself some trouble with the mimics.
That still has not come across the big key, so he's going to have to do a little backtracking to pick that up.
Yeah, it won't be too much longer, though. There it is.
Yes, Zero is decidedly in go mode.
Yeah, he got the bow on Pyramid, which was the last item he needed, and yeah, that has put him in the driver's seat, and all he has to do is knock out two crystals, and it's on to GT.
The early game of this handed out a whole lot of progression in a hurry. There was a little scrambling about in the mid-game, mostly to find those flippers. The bow was just kind of waiting for our runners to come see it and pick it up.
Yep. Yeah, it was a very, very front-loaded seed. This is one of those seeds that's very condensed as far as where everything is kind of concentrated. And Phant Phant's in go mode too, isn't he?
No, he still needs to go all the way to Laser Bridge and get those flippers.
Oh, right, that's right. Yeah, he's missing out on a pair of flippers. So.
And not only was it Kano Samaria on Purple Chest, it was also required Bombos for both of our medallion required dungeons today for the Bombos medallion.
Yeah. Right, so 17 hammer strikes and a couple of quick slashes with gold sword should take care of Helma. There it is.
Yep, zer0rush just hacking and slashing away. The Helmasaur King is going to explode in a shower of sparks and eventually drop crystal number 6 for zer0rush.
Eastern will be crystal number 7 for 0. Don't see that too often, but those bow end games.
And it is not a vanilla location big key here, so 0 is going to happen upon that fairly soon. That's crystal number 5 falling from the sky for Phant. Can go ahead and mirror over and do Eastern as well. Already has the big key for that dungeon in hand too, having tried both of these bow dungeons with no bow earlier.
Now there it is for 0.
Yeah, here we have Phant charging hard up zer0rush's weight here, but unfortunately for him, the flippers are not going to be dropping from the Armos Knights, and that would kind of be Phant's dream at the moment. I finally found the bow, the flippers are right in the way, I can go ahead and go mode my last dungeon. Easy game, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately. Fortunately slash, I guess, unfortunately, he'll get the answer he doesn't want. On the other hand, he pretty much knows where he has to go because everything else is essentially been accounted for.
The advantage to that flipper go mode is he knows what I'm looking for cannot possibly be an Ice Palace, and therefore pick a pendant becomes pretty easy.
Yeah, exactly. So that saves him some trouble.
0 with a nice clean quick kill there on the Armos Knights, and that is crystal number 7 falling from the sky for zer0rush. So here we are, Pro A. We have well and truly reached the end game. 7 crystals in hand. It's time for that final mountain climb to go rummage around in Ganon's basement and go looking for the big key that you need to beat the game.
Yep. Bot's throwing a conniption right now. I will say it's going to be chest number 10.
Yeah, kind of a middling big key location. That makes a lot of sense to me. I'll go with something along the lines of 12. I was thinking very similar thoughts myself.
So 12 and 10 and 12. All right. Both players are heading towards Death Mountain, but they are heading in very different directions. Once they get to Dark Death Mountain, one is going to be heading to to Turtle Rock, the other is going to be heading to GT, which just kind of sums up the situation they find themselves in.
Those dead rocks trying to be awfully friendly with Phant, but he is going to get on through and get back into the Dark World, going to be able to open up TR here, but barring something truly catastrophic happening on zer0rush's side, this is a bit of a foregone conclusion, unfortunately.
So it would seem. All right, here we go. Chest number 1, key. Chest number 2, money. He's going to commit to the right side for the moment.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those standard book plays of GT routing. Go to Hope Room. If you find a small key, keep going right.
Yeah.
So we'll see what zer0rush finds in Compass Room here in just a few seconds. Checks number 3 through 6. Well, that's where the heart containers were hiding, and a little bit more money.
Yeah, so, yeah, a lot of love, money and love, but nothing else. So that's 6 down. Next is 7 on the ledge, just a piece of heart.
If you're a fan of Bob, we may yet see Bob today, depending on the ultimate GT location.
See how this quad goes.
And check number 11 is going to do it right between the two of us. On average, we had it.
Yeah. So Phant dealing with chain chomps. Oh, I won the bet.
Chain chomps very decidedly trying to get their chomps onto Phant there. It's down to just a handful of hearts, but the powder is going to top them right back up. One of the advantages of powder there in Turtle Rock is it is one of the more ultimate safeties.
If the game wants it to be.
And as you say that blue Zazak going up through the spikes, and then the Vimos conspiring to get a little damage in. To answer the question in chat, while we're having zer0rush's Execution Festival and Phant still looking for those flippers that are tucked away on Laser Bridge, this is not the main tournament. This is an entirely separate tournament that ran at the same time for people who either were unable to qualify for the main tournament, or, like me, who did not try to qualify for the main tournament for various reasons. This, unlike the main tournament, is run on the normal item pool, not the hard item pool, so you see things like the butter sword that zer0rush has. Silvers were available to our runners somewhere, but have not been discovered by either runner in this particular seed. Of course, that blue mail upgrade that zer0rush has, the red mail on Phant's side, you wouldn't have seen either of those in the main tournament. They were not available. They turned into green 20s right from the start.
Yeah, it's like I'm more of like a weekend warrior kind of player at this. I haven't played this in a while. I have my own tournament to deal with, but you know, it's amazing how many people have really kind of come forward the last couple of years and really have sort of brought their own skills to the table.
Yeah, my own description is more along the lines of aggressively average, and the runners who have made it as far as even the quarterfinals, but definitely now that we have our semifinalists are certainly a cut above.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I did the last two challenge cups before this one, and the talent this year compared to the last couple of years, it's mind-boggling.
Now, I'm of a little more recent vintage to the rando community, but that is what I've been hearing from a lot of the old hands, is that the
Yeah.
level of the Challenge Cup now is the level the main tourney was at, 2, 3 years ago. So the community as a whole has been getting a whole lot better at the game.
To answer Adirondack Rick's question, you're about to see it. That was the reason, right there. Samaria and Cane of Samaria, purple chest, and
Full clearing aside from the bosses, both of the bow dungeons looking for the bow and the flippers.
yeah,
There were a lot of things that conspired against Phant in this particular seed.
yeah. He's like go mode. 15 minutes after zer0rush. Yeah, Phant gambled, and unfortunately today they did not pay off, and is now staring down a game 3 with zer0rush, the semifinals.
Speaking of, zer0rush already into phase 2 of Ganon, going to go ahead and head for dash strats here.
A little bit of a troll with Ganon moving around.
Sometimes the pig is a little warpier than others, but just needs one more hit to end phase 3.
There we go. Light World. Think what that could be.
Yeah, I don't know that we have a lot of Light World locations left. The mushroom turn in?
Well, yeah, the mushroom, Zora, yeah. And Ether, nobody checked Ether. You gotta look at Bombos. Yeah, and then I guess Pedestal. Alright, so zer0rush, 12 spin strikes. It's finished the job. Will be setting up a game 3 with Phant with the right to go on to the finals. Finishing with an official race time of 1 hour, 19 minutes, 29 seconds. And Phant has thrown in the towel. Understandable. Like, this is kind of like, you see it stopped. I was like, oh, I really did it this time, didn't I? So, but live to fight another day. So we got one more match potentially.
Yeah, that is zer0rush tying this series up. One game apiece. We are going to have a deciding game 3 in the future.
And we are joined by tonight's winner, zer0rush, into the chat. GG.
Good game to you.
Hello, thank you. Good games.
The early game there gave you a whole lot of everything, then it seemed to get kind of squirrely on both of you in the mid game for a little while.
Yeah, that'll happen sometimes. That's why I went back and finished out Sphere 1. Like, before I went to the Meyer area, I think before then, I went all the way over to Saha's Closet just to make sure that I wasn't, like, shooting myself in the foot. But, yeah. Nothing abound. It's like everything all at once and then a chain of 3 items. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and what ultimately made the difference, in part, I think, because of some of your early Dark World routing, is you immediately did the Smith chain after you were done with Skull and Thieves, got your Cana Samaria, and that sets you up perfectly for Meyer. Just kind of ran it out from there. So yeah, the routing
Mhm.
was 100% on point tonight.
Yeah, it was. I wish I could take credit for it, but everything was kind of in my way. Like,
Yeah,
assuming I was talking to Phant a bit, and I guess he skipped purple chest, but
yeah,
unfortunately, it's one of those seeds where you just kind of do everything in your path, and then you'll be done. So, luckily, that worked out for
yeah,
me tonight.
That
yeah,
was
and
one
then
of those choices where you decided to do Skullwoods first, so you were already done with those northern checks, while Phant started in
Mhm.
Village of Outcast Thieves Town and then worked his way north. So while you
Yeah.
were kind of finishing up with Smith Chain, the Smith Chain and particularly Purple Chest was kind of tucked away at the southern edge of all of the other checks that he still needed to do to the north.
Yep. Yeah, and there's not a whole lot good reason to go back there. I think maybe powder will take you over that direction, but that was pretty late too.
That was the item that did finally get him back over in that direction. That and just
yeah,
kind of starting to run out of checks.
yeah. It was kind of spoon feeding you a bit at the end there, so it definitely worked out.
Yeah, it did. I got a little lucky there because the bow being on pyramid the whole time. Um, Obviously, if I
Yeah,
had found it earlier, it would have been fine. But not finding it, like the red cane, could have just as easily been an eastern or pod or something, and I probably would have lost a very significant amount of time full clearing pretty much everything else.
so alright, so game three awaits. Your thoughts, feelings on uh,
I mean, I guess we'll see how it goes. I like this boots in the first 2 minutes of the seed, so hopefully we get that again. That's always good.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, all I can really do is play my best, I suppose, and hopefully everything lines up again.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, well, good luck to you, and good luck to Fant. I'm sure game three is going to be a barn burner.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I don't know when it'll be yet. Fan schedule this week due to GDQ is a bit tight, so we've kind of been
Mhm.
playing it by ear, but
Sure.
hopefully it'll be pretty soon.
All right. Very good. Yeah. Take it away.
Yeah. Thank you very much for, once again agreeing to be restreamed on this to you and to Phant as well. I think everybody's going to be looking forward to Game 3. Game 3, those exciting words that you always love to hear in any kind of a competitive environment, that deciding game. So let's go ahead and say one more time, if you enjoyed the show that these runners put on for you today, go ahead and give them a follow. zer0rush and Phant, two of our semifinalists. The winner of this is going to move on to the grand final and face Late Bit. And whoever loses that deciding Game 3 is not in fact done. There is a bronze medal match. The person who does not go on to the grand final is instead going to be facing W. Garrison in that bronze medal 3-game series. So there is plenty more rando coming, even though the Challenge Cup is kind of winding to a conclusion here. The commentators this evening, of course, were myself, my DM, and Pro A007. Our tracking was performed by Jinxie Girl and Scoopula. Jinxie Girl was also doing all of those technical things behind the scenes to make sure that this restream actually happened. Without that, we're just watching the runners on their own channels, and maybe you get into both chats somehow and talk to other people, but the restreamers are the ones that make a lot of this work. Of course, the runners, without them, we don't have a show, and all of you in chat, thank you for coming out and giving us an hour and 20 minutes of your time. I do hope you were entertained. It was certainly an interesting game. The early game offered our runners quite a few options. The late game, unfortunately, did not work out for Phant, but it does set up that exciting Game 3 that we were looking forward to. So with that, we're going to go ahead and wind things down here. I'm pretty sure that if we use a schedule command of some kind, we will get the upcoming ZSR schedule, which I do not have right in front of me at the moment, but you can stay tuned here for all kinds of Zelda action. Of course, we're going to have more Challenge Cup in the future. I've seen some Zelda 2 rando performed here, probably some also vanilla of both Zelda 2, Zelda 3, 3D Zeldas I've seen on here a time or few. You know, if you want your Zelda content, these are the channels Zelda Speedruns and Zelda Speedruns 2, _3, and _4 are where you can come to find it. There is more action going on all the time. But for now, that is going to do it for this ZSR presentation of the Link to the Past Randomizer Challenge Cup Tournament. Eagerly awaiting a Game 3, this is my DM for Pro A007, for Jinxie Girl and Scoopula, for our runners, zer0rush and Phant. Signing off for now. Have a wonderful night, everybody.
Well.
You are so badass at doing intros and conclusions. Like, I may never do them again if you're going to be my commentator, ever. Those are so good.
See, I just kind of get wound up and I keep talking until I feel like I've said everything.
It's so good. It comes off very, very well. I just have to whisper. My husband is sleeping like right behind me. My office is in our bedroom. So I have to keep my voice down because he gets up in a few hours for work. But yeah, thank you guys so much. And I really look forward to Game 3. I hope I get to restream it. And I will catch you all very soon. Thanks.
Yep, have a good one.